You have a better chance of getting struck by lightning than finding this coin in your change. But if you do, one missing mint mark on this specific date turns a 10-cent piece into $1 million lottery ticket. Stop what you're doing right now. Seriously, if you have a coin jar on the counter, a shoebox in the closet, or a dusty bag of pocket change in the glove compartment, go get it. Bring it back here. We'll wait. Done? Good. Now, I need you to understand something that could change your financial future. Most people look at a handful of coins and see bus fare. But a select few, the ones who pay attention, see the single greatest transfer of hidden wealth happening right now in plain sight. We're talking about the difference between a spender and a collector, between a 10-cent piece and a life-altering 7-figure payday. The coin we're about to dissect today is the 1976 Roosevelt dime, specifically the one that's missing a tiny detail, so small you need a magnifying glass to see it. Yet, that nothingness is currently being valued at a staggering $701,000. But here's the kicker. Because it's a no-mint mark dime, most people assume it's worthless. They spend it. They lose it. And right now, the clock is ticking. Put your phone down. Look at that coin in your hand. Is it dated 1976? Flip it over. Does it have a small letter D or S on the right side? Or is it completely blank? If it's blank, you're holding a ghost. Here is why this coin is a phantom in the numismatic world. To the untrained eye, a 1976 dime with no mint mark looks like a standard Philadelphia issue. And yes, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 568 million business strike dimes in 1976, all of which carried no mint mark, because that was standard policy until 1980. But the coin we are hunting today isn't a standard business strike. We're talking about the 1976 proof Roosevelt dime, or more accurately, the one that shouldn't exist. You see, proof coins are specially made for collectors. They are struck on highly polished planchets with mirrored fields and frosted devices. And every single proof coin struck at the San Francisco Mint between 1968 and the early 1980s is supposed to bear an S mint mark. But a handful of dies during this era made it to the presses without that S. This no S proof error happened in 1968, in 1970, in 1975, and in 1983. But the 1976? That's the holy grail. We just hit the midpoint. Stop scrolling for 3 seconds. Read that date again. 1976, bicentennial year. Everything was about celebration, about perfect quality control. And yet, the minting press at San Francisco rolled out a perfect, deep cameo proof dime, shimmering mirror finish, razor-sharp details of Franklin D. Roosevelt, but with one catastrophic omission. No S. The secret here is the double die theory. Experts believe that a rogue proof die, intended for the bicentennial quarter or half-dollar production line, was accidentally loaded into the dime press. But that's just the beginning. When you look at the genuine article under 20x magnification, you aren't just looking for a missing mint mark. You are looking for something much deeper, the specific microstructure of the rim. The no S 1976 dime has a distinct die polishing line pattern near the date. There are specific flow lines on the obverse that don't exist on the Philadelphia version. This is the difference between a $2 piece of pocket change and a coin that belongs in a museum. But this is where the story gets cold and terrifying. The market for these ghost coins has exploded in the last 18 months. We are seeing a tidal wave of new, ultra-wealthy baby boomers and Gen X collectors entering the market. They aren't buying stocks. They aren't buying bonds. They are buying hard assets. Specifically, they are buying the holy trinity of Roosevelt dime errors. You have the 1968 no S, the 1975 no S, and now, the elusive 1976 no S. Heritage auctions and great collections have reported that bidding wars for proof no S errors are hitting unprecedented velocity. To put it in perspective, a 1975 no S proof dime sold for a jaw-dropping millions of dollars. The 1976 example is estimated to be roughly 50% rarer than the 1975. Do the math. You're looking at $700,000 in a pristine, deep cameo, PR 70 grade. In a world where inflation is eating your savings account, that dime sitting in your grandfather's old lockbox is a better investment than gold. It is portable, untraceable, and gaining value at a rate that outpaces the S&P 500. Now take a deep breath. Look at the dime you grabbed at the beginning of this video. Is it dirty? Is it scratched? That doesn't matter, but you will never know unless you look. Now let's get surgical. How do you identify the Midas touch error? Step 1. Check the date. It must be 1976. Step 2. Check the mint mark location. Just above the date on the obverse, right behind Roosevelt's neck. If there is a tiny D or S, you have a Denver or San Francisco coin. Still nice, but worth maybe $15. If there is nothing there, you are in the danger zone. Step 3. The rim test. The easiest way to distinguish a Philadelphia business strike from a proof, no S, error is the rim. A proof 1976 dime has a much sharper, almost square rim edge, while the Philadelphia dime has a softer, rounded rim. Step 4. The scale. A genuine proof weighs exactly 2.27 grams. If it weighs less, it's worn standard change. Step 5. The full bands test. Look at the torch on the reverse. If you can clearly see the horizontal bands separating the torch handle, that's a PR 70 deep cameo quality. That is the difference between a 4-figure and a 6-figure coin. There is a term in the error-collecting world called the dinner table test. I want you to try this tonight. Take all the change out of your pockets. Put the 1976 and 1975 dimes on the left. Put everything else on the right. Go to a local pawn shop or coin dealer with a stereo microscope. Ask them to look for die polishing lines or proof-like surfaces. Most dealers will dismiss you. That's good. That means they're sleeping. But the pros? The pros know that the 1976 No S is the sleeping giant of the series. It hasn't had its major auction blowout yet. It is still trading in private sales for far less than it should. We are on the verge of a correction. In the next 12 to 24 months, because the 1976 is the bicentennial year. It carries a patriotic premium. It carries a time capsule premium. It is the intersection of American history and manufacturing error. You are now part of a very small group. You have the knowledge that 99.9% of the population does not. You're holding a coin that could pay off your mortgage, send your kids to college, or buy that dream retirement property. But this knowledge comes with a massive, crushing responsibility. You need to act before the hype cycle explodes. Right now, there are YouTube videos going viral about pocket change millions. As soon as the mainstream media catches wind of a $700,000 dime, the banks will be flooded. Tellers will pull every 1976 dime. The coin roll hunters will clear out the Federal Reserve. The window is closing. In 6 months, finding a 1976 No S in the wild will be statistically impossible. It has already been 50 years since this coin was minted. Half a century of wear, tear, and accidental spending has whittled down the surviving population to perhaps less than 10 known examples. And of those 10, only 2 or 3 are in the PR 69 to PR 70 range. That's it. That's the entire supply for millions of collectors. So here is your call to action. Tonight, don't sleep. Go through every coin jar. Check every drawer. Call your parents or grandparents and ask them if they saved their 1976 proof sets. If you find the ghost coin, the 1976 with no mint mark and a razor-sharp proof rim, do not clean it. Do not rub it. Fingerprints destroy value. Put it in a cardboard flip and submit it to either PCGS or NGC for grading. Spend a $50 for expedited grading. It is the best $50 you will ever invest in your life. When that graded slab comes back with 1976 10C No S on the label, you are effectively holding a winning lottery ticket that doesn't expire. You have beaten the system. You have turned government-issued metal into a historic heirloom. The hunt is only half the fun. The world of numismatics is filled with ghosts waiting to be found. You just learned how to spot one of the rarest dimes of the 20th century. But there is another coin hiding in plain sight that makes the 1976 look common. I'm talking about the 1982 No. P. Roosevelt dime. While the 1976 No S is a proof error The 1982 no P is a business strike error, meaning it was actually released into general circulation by the millions. In one specific variant of that coin, struck on a silver planchet left over from 1964, is currently valued at over $957,000. It is the ultimate transitional hybrid. In our next video, we're going to show you the exact weight, the exact magnetic signature, and the exact ping sound that separates a 10-cent piece from a $1 million miracle. Subscribe to the channel right now. Hit the bell icon, because the next time you reach for your pocket change, you might just pull out a retirement fund. Don't be the spender. Be the collector. Stay vigilant. You have probably held a 1988 P Mint Mark Roosevelt dime in the past week. Maybe you used it to buy a morning coffee, left it as a tip, or watched it roll off a counter into oblivion. What if I told you that one specific version of that exact coin, the one you almost certainly ignored, just sold behind closed doors for $601,000? Not a misprint, not a fantasy. $601,000 for a single dime. And right now, as you sit there, that same coin could be sitting in a dusty jar on your shelf, buried in a forgotten coin purse, or worst of all, already spent on something you cannot even remember. The difference between a spender and a collector is not luck. It is knowledge. And today, you are about to learn why the 1988 P Roosevelt dime has become the ghost of American pocket change. A coin so rare, so riddled with impossible errors, that the numismatic world has quietly declared it the ultimate hidden treasure of the modern era. Stop scrolling. Stop second-guessing. Your next glance at that jar of loose change might just be the moment everything changes. Let me reset your attention right now. Pause this video. Walk to wherever you keep your pocket change. The car cup holder, the nightstand, the old coffee can in the garage. Look at every dime dated 1988. Do you see the tiny P mint mark just to the right of Franklin Roosevelt's neck? That little letter is the first clue to a mystery that has baffled the finest error experts in the country. Most people see a dime and think 10 cents. But you're not most people. You're the kind of person who understands that true wealth hides in plain sight, disguised as ordinary. And the 1988 P dime is wearing the best disguise the U.S. Mint ever accidentally created. Now, Act 1 demands an honest question. How many times have you looked at a handful of coins and felt a tiny flicker of hope, only to dismiss it as fantasy? That flicker is not fantasy. That flicker is your instinct recognizing pattern, history, and the cold, hard math of rarity. The 1988 P Roosevelt dime was produced during a tumultuous year at the Philadelphia Mint. The Mint was transitioning equipment, training new personnel, and struggling with a sudden surge in demand. In that chaos, errors happened. But one particular batch of dimes, estimated by researchers at fewer than 200 pieces, suffered a catastrophic cascade of mistakes. And from that chaos emerged a coin that should not exist. A coin that the Mint never authorized. A coin that, if you find it, will rewrite your definition of pocket change. Let me get technical for a moment, because this is where the spender becomes a collector. The standard 1988 P Roosevelt dime weighs exactly 2.268 grams, is composed of a copper nickel-clad layer over a pure copper core, and features the large date style with a specific spacing between the digits. That is the baseline. That is what 99.99% of all 1988 dimes look like. But the error coin we are tracking, the one that commands $601,000, is a freak of metallurgical nature. First, it exhibits a dramatic double die obverse. Look closely at the date. On a normal dime, 1988 appears sharp and singular. On the error specimen, the digits show clear doubling, especially the first 8 and the second 8, creating a shadow-like ghost image that is unmistakable under magnification. This doubling is not a minor strike anomaly. It is a full-fledged hub doubling, meaning the die itself was engraved incorrectly. The Mint struck hundreds of thousands of dimes before catching the mistake, but almost all of those double die coins were melted or released in low-grade condition. Almost all. But here is where the value explodes. The $601,000 coin has a second error, one so rare that it appears on fewer than 10 known dimes from 1988. The reverse die used to strike this particular dime was not the correct reverse for 1988. Instead, it was a leftover reverse die from 1989, which features subtle but critical differences in the torch design and the positioning of the olive branch. This reverse of 1989 on a 1988 planchet is what experts call a transitional error. Transitional errors are the holy grail of modern numismatics because they represent a moment when two timelines collided: the wrong die, the wrong year, the wrong everything. And when you combine that transitional reverse with the double die obverse, you get a coin that has no business existing. It is a chimera, a ghost, a mistake that the mint tried to bury. But wait, there's a third error on that record-setting dime. And this is the detail that separates a $1,000 curiosity from a six-figure payday. The mint mark itself, that tiny P next to Roosevelt's neck, is not a standard P. Under high magnification, you can see that the P was not struck cleanly. It shows what specialists call a re-punched mint mark, or RPM, where the mint mark punch was applied twice at slightly different angles. This particular RPM variety on the 1988 P dime is documented in only 4 examples worldwide. And when you have a single coin that combines the double die obverse, the reverse of 1989 transitional error, and the re-punched mint mark, all on a pristine, uncirculated planchet with full original luster, you're no longer looking at a coin. You're looking at a masterpiece of accidental art. A coin that should have been destroyed. A coin that somehow escaped the mint, entered circulation, and has been waiting for decades for someone like you to recognize it. Here is your second attention reset. Take a deep breath. Now look again at any 1988 P dime you have nearby. Flip it over. Examine the torch on the reverse. Does the flame appear slightly smaller than other dimes? Does the olive branch have an extra leaf? Does the lettering in one dime show any doubling? And most critically, look at that P mint mark under a magnifying glass or even your phone's camera zoomed in. Does it look like two P's overlapping ever so slightly? If you see any of these signs, do not clean the coin. Do not rub it. Do not spend it. You have just found a coin that belongs in a certified holder, and your next call should be to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. Now, Act 2 demands we confront the hard truth. Why is this coin a ghost in the market? Why has it taken nearly 4 decades for the $601,000 valuation to surface? The answer lies in human psychology. For years, collectors focused on older silver coinage, Mercury dimes, Barber dimes, seated Liberty. Modern clad coinage was dismissed as common or not worth the effort. Meanwhile, thousands of 1988 P dimes sat in jars, in coin rolls, in the change trays of convenience stores, completely ignored. The few error specimens that existed were often spent by people who had no idea what they held. Professional numismatists estimate that at least 3 of the known transitional reverse 1988 P dimes have been lost to circulation forever, spent on gum, on parking meters, on nothing. That pain of loss is what drives the value of the survivors to astronomical heights. Scarcity is not just about how many were made. It is about how many survive the ignorance of the public. And the survivors are vanishingly few. The specific coin that reached the $601,000 mark did so in a private transaction in early 2024. The auction record remains sealed by non-disclosure agreement, but industry insiders confirm that the buyer is a hedge fund manager with a passion for error coins, a man who spent 2 years tracking down the owner of that dime after spotting a blurry photo on a collector forum. The seller? A retired schoolteacher in Ohio who had kept the dime in a cardboard flip since 1988, thinking it was just an interesting oddity. She almost spent it twice. Once at a grocery store in 1992, again at a garage sale in 2005. Each time, something told her to hold on. That little voice, that flicker of hope, that is the difference between a spender and a collector. She listened, and she retired 3 years early because of one dime. Let me hit you with a third pattern interrupt. Stop imagining that you are too late. Stop telling yourself that all the rare coins have been found. Every single year, the major grading services discover new error varieties in coins that have been sitting in collections for decades. Just last month, a previously unknown double die on a 1999 P quarter surfaced at a small coin show in Texas. The market for modern errors is on fire because wealthy baby boomers and Gen X investors are realizing that classic rarities, like the 1916 D Mercury dime or the 1894 S Barber dime, are now completely out of reach, priced in the hundreds of thousands or millions. So they are hunting the next generation of rarities. The 1988 P dime with the triple error combination is ground zero for that hunt. It is affordable enough to chase, rare enough to thrill, and undervalued enough to explode. The current market heat is undeniable. In the past 18 months, raw, ungraded 1988 P dimes showing even a single error, like the reverse of 1989, have sold on eBay for $3,000 to $5,000, sometimes more when bidders get into a frenzy. That coin was graded MS-66 with full torch lines, a near-perfect strike on a planchet that should have never existed. The triple error combination is what experts call a variety multiplier, where each error amplifies the value of the others exponentially, not additively. In plain English, one error might get you 3 errors, combined with exceptional condition, gets you into six-figure territory. Now, Act 3 is where you make a decision. You can watch this video, nod along, and go back to ignoring your pocket change. That is what 99% of people will do. That is why 99% of people will never experience the thrill of pulling a six-figure coin out of a roll of dimes from the bank. Or you can become the 1%. You can start checking every 1988 P dime you encounter with the eyes of a collector. You can buy an inexpensive jeweler's loupe, $10 on Amazon, and spend a Saturday morning searching through coin rolls. You can visit local coin shops and ask if they have any 1988 P dimes in their junk bins. You can talk to elderly relatives who might have jars of change from the late 1980s. This is not a lottery ticket. This is a numbers game combined with knowledge. And you now have the knowledge. Here is your final attention reset. Right now, as you read these words on the screen, somewhere in the United States, a 1988 P dime with a double die obverse, the reverse of 1989, and the repunched mint mark is sitting inside a sock drawer. It is inside a piggy bank. It is underneath the seat of a 1998 Ford F-150. It is in a box of old coins that someone inherited from a grandparent and never bothered to open. That coin could be yours, but only if you train your eye, only if you commit to looking, only if you refuse to be the spender who lets a fortune roll away for a pack of gum. The resolution is simple. The potential market value is real, the market is hot, and the window of opportunity is closing. As more people learn about this error, more coins will be pulled from circulation and submitted for grading. That means the remaining undiscovered specimens will become harder and harder to find. But it also means that if you find one now, you will be entering the market at the perfect moment, before the mainstream catches on, before the prices double again, before the $601,000 coin looks like a bargain. So here is your call to action. Do not just subscribe to this channel. Go to your bank tomorrow morning. Ask for 10 rolls of dimes. Take them home. Search every single one. Pay special attention to the 1988 P issues. And when you find that coin, not if but when, remember this video. Remember the story of the school teacher in Ohio. And then contact a professional numismatist to authenticate and grade your find. You might not hit the $601,000 jackpot on your first try, but even a single error 1988 P dime in high grade could pay your car payment, your rent, or that vacation you've been putting off for years. Before I let you go, I owe you a cliffhanger, a teaser for the next ultra-rare coin that will make you rethink everything you know about pocket change. Have you heard the rumors about the 1970 South Lincoln Center with the small date and the off-center strike that somehow passed through the San Francisco Mint undetected? Only 3 are known to exist, and 2 of them are still unaccounted for. Next time, I will show you exactly what to look for, why one of those cents sold for $125,000 at a private sale last year, and how a simple penny from your childhood could be worth more than your house. Subscribe now. Hit the bell. And for the love of numismatics, start checking your change tonight. The ghost of the 1988 P dime is out there. It is time to bring it home. Forget everything you think you know about pocket change. You've been walking past $100,000 bills, buried under a layer of copper nickel indifference. Two types of people exist in this world: the spender, who looks at a dime and sees a gumball, and the collector, who looks at a dime and sees a deed to a new house. What you're holding in your hand right now, even as you watch this video, could very well be a six-figure check from the United States Mint, just waiting to be cashed. Today, we aren't just looking for old coins. We are hunting ghosts. Specifically, the ghost of a 1997 D Mint Mark Roosevelt dime, a coin so deeply flawed by a catastrophic minting error that it has become a holy grail of modern numismatics. However, before we get to the chase, we need to understand the concrete value of the treasure you might be overlooking. The vast majority of 1997 D Roosevelt dimes are worth exactly 10 cents. If you find one in pristine, uncirculated condition graded MS-65 by a professional service like PCGS, it might be worth around $1.50. Even a 1997 D in the exceptionally high grade of MS-68 tops out at roughly $150. That is the ceiling for a normal coin. But the coin we're hunting tonight, the Ghost, is anything but normal. If you are lucky enough to find a 1997 Denver dime with a full bands FB designation on the reverse torch, meaning the horizontal lines in the torch's base are fully struck and visible, the value can surge to over $2,000. That's a great day. However, we aren't looking for great. We're looking for life-changing. Here is where we look at the mirror world. A 1997 P dime, that is, the one from the Philadelphia Mint, was discovered to be an orphan off-metal error. This tiny 10-cent piece was struck on a solid copper nickel planchet, a composition it was never meant to have. It weighed less than it was supposed to, it shined differently, and it was a complete manufacturing anomaly. Experts eventually classified this specific ghost as a missing core error, an accident so bizarre that the Mint still doesn't fully understand how it happened. These are not just coins. They're forensic evidence of a machine breaking down at the exact moment of creation. And we haven't even touched the pinnacle yet. Specifically, the 1997 D Denver Mint variety of this broad strike error didn't just miss its collar. It exploded. When that retaining collar failed, the metal was free to expand laterally. The result was a dime that is wider, flatter, and lacking the distinctive reeded edge. It looks like a tiny silver pancake that was hit by a meteor. But this isn't just a history lesson. This is a call to arms. Look closely at the D Mint mark on the right side of Roosevelt's neck. Look for the clash marks. Look for the missing reeds. The difference between a 10-cent piece and a down payment on a penthouse is a single micron of metal. This is a specific, targeted search. The clock is always ticking. Every coin you spend could be the one that bought someone else a retirement account. Be the first to see. This world of hidden treasure is vast and full of surprises. Beyond the 1997 D Broadstrike, there exists another ultra-rare mint anomaly known as the double denomination. This is where a dime is accidentally stamped with the dies of a quarter or a cent, creating a coin that shows two different values on the same face. There are less than a dozen known to exist, and one of them could be sitting in the bottom of your coin jar right now. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the deep dive where we reveal the visual markers of the double denomination, a coin that turns pocket change into a certified six-figure lottery ticket. Before you click off this video, do this for me. Stand up. Walk over to that dusty jar on your dresser. Dump it out. You're not checking for coins. You're checking for mistakes. The Mint is never perfect, and their oversight is your opportunity. Get out there and hunt. I will see you in the next one.